And then we can start. Whenever okay, it's remuted. Whenever I see myself running around on this video, for some reason, when I run around my house, I go like this. I don't run like that in real life, everybody. It's only my house that I go. Okay, let's start standing. Hands together. Belly drawn in and up. And it's that up feeling that's going to make you a little bit taller. And you can think of it as space between the bones. Let's exhale the arms down. Inhale to reach up, look up. Exhale to fold forward. From halfway up for an inhale. And let's just step into plank for the exhale. And we'll stay in plank for a few breaths. And we'll try to create that same feeling of length, even though now we're on a different plane. Now we have to deal with gravity trying to take our belly down or our hips down. Let's engage the quads just a little bit more. We'll press the down dog on the exhale. Return to plank for the inhale. Return to down dog for the exhale. Just notice how your neck goes along for the ride. When you're in plank, you're just gazing slightly forward. When you're in down dog, your head is dropped. So you're looking at your shins or thereabouts. Let's meet in downward dog. Just start to bend one knee at a time. Walk the feet slowly forward so that as you step, your heel gets to touch the floor. Eventually to the top of the mat, feet together. Inhale. Fold, exhale. Rise up for the inhale. We're just going to fold again for the exhale. Swan dive or any other way. Inhale there, halfway up. And let's just step to plank again. But we're going to change it from a plank to a heavy-handed tabletop. So we'll step the feet in, just one at a time, to this tabletop where the knees don't touch the floor. And then we'll step to plank again with straight legs, normal plank as you know it. So again, bring the feet in. This is a heavy-handed tabletop. And step the feet back to normal plank. Let's just do that 2 more times. And as you're doing this, try not to move your pelvis or your belly or your shoulders. So you're holding the core real steady. Whenever you get to plank the next time, press to downward dog. We'll rest in dog for a few breaths. Let your armpits rise up toward the ceiling. And either walk forward like we did last time, or lift your heels, bend your knees, and jump forward. Somehow you make it to the top. Inhale there, and fold, exhale. Rise up, inhale, and we'll fold forward again, exhale. So these are just variations on Surya Namaskar A. Inhale, halfway up, and we'll step to plank again. Good, so the same stability in the pelvis that you had previously. This time we'll place the left knee down to tabletop and lift the right leg off the ground, point the toes, and lower that right foot, return to plank, and try the other side, right knee to the floor, left leg up so that it's basically the same height as your hip, and return to your plank without wiggling through the pelvis or the shoulders. One more time, left knee down, right leg up, belly in so we're not arching, return to plank. Then right knee down, belly in, left leg up, and return to plank. This time cycle through for vinyasa, exhale for chaturanga. Inhale for upward facing. And exhale for downward facing. So all that stability in the pelvis stuff we have to do in our chaturangas. So when we bend the elbows, the hips don't drop at all. The hips only drop when you decide to upward dog yourself. Okay, after your exhale, step, walk, or jump, feet to hands. Inhale at the top. Hold, exhale. Rise up, inhale. Let's bring the hands to prayer. Right ankle to the left thigh. Standing pigeon. Forearms to shin. So that right elbow can nudge the knee down a little bit. Here to Utkatasana, feet together, knees together, arms up. And then the other side, thumbs to the chest, left ankle to the lower right thigh. Utkatasana, feet together, knees together, reach up, inhale, and fold straight legs, exhale. Halfway up, inhale, and step or jump chaturanga, exhale. Inhale to upward facing. Exhale, downward facing. Right foot forward. Warrior one, holding opposite elbows. 3 breaths. We'll bring that right elbow back. The right ribs back. And just like the seesaw, if the right side moves back, the left side moves forward. Dance to the floor. Exhale for chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing. Left foot forward. Warrior one. Maybe the way that feels a little weird, so the other forearm is on top. And let's think about that back leg being super straight. And maybe that back foot can help you push your right hip forward more, which will bring your right ribs forward more, which, like the seesaw, now makes your left side go back. You can approach it from any side, the result is the same. Let's release the hands. Step back, exhale, bend the elbows. Inhale, hips down, chest up. Exhale, downward dog. Let's come down to the knees. We'll lower to the elbows, measure it out, interlace your fingers as if you're coming into headstand, but we're not going to actually come up yet. Let's bring the knees together and just extend the right leg back. Back and up. So you have pretty much a straight line from your shoulders to your toes. Good, belly in. And let's just draw little circles with this right leg. And we'll try not to wiggle everything else. So your circle might have to be small. Depends how much control you have in your glutes, your left inner thigh. Let's throw the other direction. Let that belly defy gravity, so it's rising up toward the ceiling, toward the back. Okay, right knee down, and let's try it on the other side. First, we just extend the left leg out. And when you're ready, when you feel like you can, start to move the leg. And if you're not sure if you're wiggling, make your circle really big, and you're going to feel the wiggle right away. Then you can kind of tone it down. Go the other direction. Keep that left leg as straight as you can. Okay, and let's place the knee down. Separate the hands, down dog B. Knees up, chest back. Let's press extra into thumb and pointer. Chest toward thighs, and we'll straighten the arms. Regular down dog. Heels up, inhale. Bend the knees, look forward, exhale, and jump. Inhale up top. Fold, exhale. Bend into the knees, inhale. There's our Utkatasana. Let's bring hands to prayer. Right ankle against the lower left thigh. I'm going to face you. So here we are in standing pigeon. Your ankle and your knee are on the same plane. Let's bring the arms underneath the leg and lift the leg up, attempting to keep the ankle and the knee on the same plane. That might mean that your hands are on your leg and it's pretty low, or it could be your forearms, or you could try to do like a baby cradling thing, whatever suits your hip at the moment. So we're going to try to have this knee as far away from us as the foot, like we're trying to actually bring the foot in closer. Let's place the ankle again on the thigh. Make it easier again, just a sec. And return to Utkatasana so that we can change sides. Hands to prayer, left ankle to the lower right thigh. So this part's easy, getting it all lined up. And then you decide where do you want your hands to be so that when you're standing up, your foot is rising up. Because if we hold a little too aggressively, we're going to wind up with something like that. Like the foot will be lower than the knee. And this is coming from your hip rotation. So if you feel any pressure in your knee, you have to loosen your grip. Let it be either forearms or hands. One more breath. Carol, drop that knee. Mas, 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 which means more and more and more and more. Okay, ankle to the thigh. Here's for standing pigeon. And into Utkatasana, feet together. Reach up, inhale. Fold, exhale, straight legs. Inhale, halfway up. And we'll jump back, chaturanga, exhale. Upward facing, inhale. Downward facing, exhale. Right foot forward, warrior one. Interlace the fingers behind the back. Lift the chest. If you feel like you're angled to the left diagonal, get your hands to go outside of your leg. And that will kind of make you a little more twisted through the torso. So the right ribs move back. And maybe slowly the legs can keep creating that by scissoring together, and then you don't need it anymore to be hooked. Okay, hands down. Exhale. Step back, lower down. Inhale, upward facing. And exhale, downward facing. Left foot forward. Interlace. Pinky thumb on top and rise up. So no matter how we achieve this squareness, the goal is just to be facing front, to have that back leg super strong and pushing the right hip forward. So you can either use your arms on the right hip or right thigh, or they're just behind. Okay, let's release the grip. Step back, exhale, lower down. Inhale, chest up, and exhale, hips up. Let's come down to our tabletop again. We'll lower down to our elbows again. Measure it out. Interlace the fingers. Let's bring the knees to touch. And again, extend the right leg back like you did before. So roughly straight line from shoulders to toes. Let's just touch the knee toward the right armpit or elbow or tricep and extend it back again. We'll exhale to curl it in and inhale, extend it back. Let's do this 2 more times. So as you're bringing the knee in, dig your right arm more into the floor. So don't lean to the left. Push into that right elbow. Good, and let's change legs. Right knee down, left leg up. And it might be counterintuitive. So left knee to arm, we're going to dig that arm down. So the left side of your body now is working really hard. So at your own breath, curling in for the exhale and extending away for the inhale. After a total of 4 of those, we'll meet in our down dog D again, where we separate our hands and we work hard to keep our hands separated right in front of the elbows. We're digging our thumbs and pointers into the ground and squeezing them energetically toward each other. And the hand is less likely to migrate. Okay, let's straighten the arms. After your exhale, step or jump forward. Inhale there, halfway. Exhale, fold. Bend into the knees, vajrasanas. This time, hands to prayer, left ankle up first. Because we're going to step back in a sec. So there's our standing pigeon. Our right foot is ideally facing front, and it's pretty comfortable where it is. Let's just step that left foot back and spin open into warrior 2. The right foot will stay where it is. You'll just adjust the left foot accordingly to put it where you want. Good. So we'll go for that 90-degree bend in the front leg. Let's just take 2 more breaths here. One of the nice things about holding a pose like this is your right quads are going to get real tired. When they do, they start to recruit the back leg. Okay, let's bring our hands to prayer, spin the back heel up, standing pigeon again. So push off the back foot and get that left ankle again to the right lower thigh. Good, into vajrasanas, and we'll just change sides. Right ankle to lower left thigh, drop the right knee. That's your hip opener. Good. So the left foot is now your balance point. We step that right foot back, and we open it up. The left foot doesn't move. Drop the tailbone, we lift the pubic bone. We engage the triceps so that we feel like this fluffy bit of flesh is rising up toward the arm bone. 2 more breaths. And 1. Let's spin the back heel up. Push off that right foot so that you can propel your leg up and over. Good. And into vajrasanas again. And left ankle to lower right thigh. Go a little bit lower if you can. Instead of elbow on your knee, you're going to go chest. And then we'll step back for our warrior 2 again. Same adjustments for the legs. Into vajrasanas. Let's go for traditional today. We're going to have our right hand, pinky toe side of the foot. And that's just a choice, of course. You don't have to do it that way. Good. So it's a straight line from foot to top hand, back foot to top hand. And it really gets into that right hip a lot. Okay. Let's circle that left hand down toward the floor and straighten the leg as the right leg as the hand is sort of passing by. And come on to right fingertips, left arm up. So we just sort of did this little swipey action of the left arm and we wind up in a triangle. Let's reach the left arm behind the back. So first the palm will rotate back and then we'll bend the elbow, grab hold of our right thigh. But keep thinking about that right hip opening. So the right hip scoops under you, the ball of the right foot pushes down. Let's unravel. We'll rise up on an inhale. And we'll meet in virasanas. We bend the right leg and we push off with the back leg so that we can balance on that right foot. Possibly with that right hand on the ankle. Let's turn it into a warrior 3. If your hand is on your ankle, there's no need to touch the floor as you transition. You'll just drop your left hip. It will help if you bend the right leg a little bit. And then any arms you want for your warrior 3. I have my arms kind of out in airplane wings, but you can do anything. Let's meet in our standing pigeon. Left ankle to lower right thigh. There's your resting place because your right hip is probably on fire. And let's go through Utkatasana over to the other side, right ankle to lower left thigh. And if you're able to get your elbows onto your knee and ankle, now in your chest. So you dip your torso more. Yeah, and then notice how your armpits are now close to your shin. We'll rise up, big step back, warrior 2. Into Parsvakonasana. So first make sure that your right foot is aligned in the center of that left foot. We'll reach out and down. Good. And if you can, gaze at your right hand. Think about that right shoulder rotating. The tough thing here, or one of the tough things, if your right shoulder is rotating to get your pinky finger angled down, it tends to drop your shoulder and right ribs toward the floor. So you need to emphasize your left hip going under you to open up to the ceiling. Because the hip is closer to the floor than your shoulder, it is more important in this pose than the shoulder. Okay, let's sweep that right arm down, straighten the left leg. And reach the right arm up. And when you're able, palm faces back, elbow bends, we hold our left inner thigh. Good. So the arm behind you is helping you lean back a little bit. But really the left hip moving under you is what is opening you mostly. It's also what's keeping your balance. Okay, let's unwind, rise up on an inhale, bend into that left leg, push off the back foot, Ardha Chandrasana. And when you're able, left hand to left ankle, keep reaching with your right foot. Good. So for your warrior 3, now we have to square to the floor. So right hip down to the same height as the left hip. Right thigh rolls in. Bend the knees, bring your back leg up and over for your standing pigeon. And into Utkatasana, feet together, knees together, reach up. And let's fold straight legs, exhale. Halfway up, inhale. And step or jump chaturanga, exhale. Upward facing. Into downward facing. Let's bring our right foot forward. Just quarter turn to the left, Prasarita A. Hands between the feet, inhale. And head down, exhale. Lean just a little bit forward so that you feel the balls of the feet push. Okay, let's straighten the arms. Inhale. Walk your hands toward the right foot to the inside of the foot. And let's come to lizard. We'll lift the back heel. And for now, let's keep our right foot facing front. We'll just lower to the elbows. So that would require our right leg to keep hugging into the body. You might feel your knee pressed to your shoulder. You might feel your inner thigh on your ribs. This is the not relaxing version of lizard. Okay, let's return to our hands. And just vinyasa over to the other side for lizard on the left. So all 10 toes will face front. We can stay on the hands or you can come down to the elbows. And if you come to the elbows, your hands have to walk forward quite a bit because your elbows now have to be either under your shoulders or an inch in front of your shoulders. Rise up, quarter turn to the side. This time D position. Reach for the big toes. Inhale. And exhale, head down toward the floor. And we're using our arm strength to help us pull our head down. If your head easily comes down, you could just bring your feet a little closer together. That'll give you a bit of a new challenge. Or it might just feel nice in the neck. Not be squished on the floor. Okay, inhale, straight arm. And we'll walk to the right for lizard again. This time, the one where our back knee comes down, our front foot spins out a bit, our right knee drops open. And either stay up on the hands or come to your elbows. And now there's a big gap between your right thigh and your right ribs. And that gap will depend on your hip, so make sure your ankle is not bending at all. When you can, bend your back leg, try to kick yourself in the butt. Reach your right hand for your foot. Pull the foot in the rest of the way so that your heel goes to your left sitting bone, which you probably did not do without your hand assisting. Drop our hips toward the floor just one more inch. I hope you feel something in your hip flexors because I'm dying. Okay, let's unravel and we'll just vinyasa over to the other side. Get our left toes to face that left corner of the mat. Right knee down, elbows down if you want. When you can, first use your hamstring to bring your leg in as close to you as you can. This is sort of one of the tricks to vajrasanas. You have to use your hamstring strength to get your foot in, and then you can use your left hand to complete the circuit. Try to relax a little bit with your legs. There is some scissor action that you have to do, but if your right quads can relax a little, it's going to get that right heel closer to your butt. It's going to feel a little bit more intense. Okay, let's slowly get out there. And we'll quarter turn to the side. This time we'll attempt to get our elbows to the ground. So that's going to depend quite a lot on your hamstrings. If you can't get your elbows down sort of under you, you might want to walk your hands a little more forward, and then your elbows will come down. It will be more than like a wide-legged down dog beat. So once you get your elbows placed somewhere, interlace your fingers, place your head down, and start to lift yourself up into a straddle headstand. This is vajrasanas, A. And we have the edge of our hand on the floor, our wrist, our forearm, our elbow. We'll just take a few breaths. Look at you, so I'm coming down early, but you stay there. Okay, very nice. So let's start to bring the legs down again. Land them on your mat. So you have to curl in those bottom 12 inches. Good. And let's straighten the arms for an inhale. And we'll walk our hands to the right foot for Anjaneyasana. Hands to that right knee. We'll try to get a split from knee to knee. Let's interlace the fingers behind the head. So it's the same kind of thing you just did in your headstand. And let's press the head back. We'll lift the elbows up. When the elbows go up, the hips go down. That right knee goes forward, the head goes back. So there's all these counterbalances at work. Let's release the hands. And we'll just vinyasa over to the other side. Right knee down. Hands on the left thigh. We just give an extra little nudge. So in a warrior, you're going to have your knee over your ankle, but here in Anjane, it can go in front of. And you're trying to get a split from knee to knee. Let's interlace the way that feels a little odd. Hands behind the head. Elbows up. And let's try to keep a straight line from knuckles to elbows. So you're not going to let your wrists bend in any weird way. They're not going to be too open and they're not going to be shut with palms together. There's just a straight line there. Just like in your headstand. This helps bring about some security. Okay, let's release, rise up, quarter turn to the side. So either attempt the same headstand, or we're going to go for Vajrasana C, which again requires elbows down. You could also, if your elbows can't get down wide-legged, just bring your feet together and be normal on your mat, and then you can just come up with your feet together. So we'll have a Miss Carol, lower your legs. We're going to come up for a straddle. Yes, you are. Good. So the straddle is for folks whose elbows get down, and a non-straddle would be if your elbows don't get down. Because obviously, if your elbows are not down, the headstand's not going to work. And we'll start to separate our legs, and we'll take extra care in that bottom 12 inches so that we land sort of where we started. Good. Okay, let's rise halfway up and come again to your right side, Anjaneyasana. This time we'll go for some robot arms. So 90-degree-ish bend in the elbows, roll your shoulders up and out. And it looks like I'm being super dramatic here, but that is literally how I do it when I'm alone in the Mysore room, because otherwise I get stuck. So do what you gotta do, elbows back, chest up, and then maybe fingers down. And we're trying still for a straight line from knee to knee, so we're dropping the hips quite a lot. Hopefully you feel something in that left thigh. Okay, let's lean forward a bit. Fingers line up with right toes. We're just going to curl the right toes. And inhale to straighten the right leg. Flex the right foot. Bend it again to your lunge. Again, right leg straight. Flex the right foot. And return to your lunge. Just one more time like this. And when you are going to get your right leg straight, just go as far as you can. Okay. Let's vinyasa over to the other side. This time I'm taking my computer with me. We'll go for our Anjane. And we'll robot our arms. And we'll somehow get our elbows to move back, so that our chest can move forward and up. Good. And then if you're extending your fingers down to the floor, the shoulders are back. The chest is forward. Because obviously your fingers can touch the floor if you lean forward, but we're entering this from the back. Fingertips lining up with left toes. Curl the back toes so your knee is up. And then 3 times, we'll just try to straighten the left leg, flex the foot if you can, and return to your lunge. 2 veces más. And let's quarter turn ourselves. This time we're going to attempt the vajrasana B, which is harder than C for a lot of reasons. It's like the I dream of genie arm. So your thumbs, I'm going to walk up a little bit closer to the thing. Your thumbs are going to be like inside of your elbows. And see how like there's kind of a crossing of the forearms. It's a little bit awkward. The forehead is going to touch the forearm. And you can, so your hands are going to be in front of your head. So there's no more of a cradle behind your head. And you can come up through your straddle or some other way. What I think about mostly is pushing down into the elbows. Come on down if you're still up. When you are done, we will walk our hands over to that right foot again for Asana. A vajrasana grip, but before we do vajrasana grip, first just hands to the right leg. And there's some flesh with this left knee that we have to deal with. So I don't know if I can see it on my screen a little bit. See this wiggliness? That's like the forward and back. This is on the flesh of my back knee. I'm going to go forward with my body so that the flesh is sort of behind me. Then bring the foot in as close as you can, just with your hamstring muscle. Oh, so hard. Then reach back to the inside of the foot. And maybe that's as far as you get, or your arm pulls your foot closer. And once the foot is real close, like basically touching the outer hip, then the hand can spiral around. So your leg did all that work to bring the foot into your grip. Okay, let's let that go. We're going to turn this right leg into pigeon. So just scoot it to the left, drop the knee. Let's karate chop this right foot into the floor, and we're going to attempt cactus arms for just a moment. So this is just sort of testing our leg strength here. If you feel like you're falling onto your right hip, you can wedge something under it, or you can slide this foot closer to your left hip. Okay. Let's attempt vajrasana grip again. So the hamstring brings your foot in. Reach for your inner foot, and now the arm brings it in closer. And I'm still not in vajrasana grip, I just brought my foot in closer. Then when it's close, I could switch the grip. So it takes a lot of hamstring strength to get there, and then hip flexor flexibility. Okay, let's unwind ourselves. We're going to come to our Ajna again and turn it into twisted triangle. Ooh la la. So I want you to get your right leg straight again and practice pushing into the ball of the foot. Left hand on either side of your left foot, right arm up. Good. So keep pressing into the right ball of foot, no matter where your left hand is. Even if you had no left hand, if you were a one-armed person, you could still do a twisted triangle. Carrie, bring your top arm closer to your computer. Yeah. Okay, let's unwind ourselves. We're going to go for a standing split. So we're going to push off the back foot, just like you did when you went to your Arjuna, your Ardha earlier. So it propels you up. Let's reach our hands for that right calf muscle or ankle. And we'll pull our torso closer to the right shin as we lift our left leg a little bit higher. So there's that seesaw again. Leg up, shoulders down. fingers down, let's step back and we'll just pivot around to the other side for everything. Starting with Anjaneyasana. Right knee down, hands to the left side. Okay, so we'll keep our hands on the thigh for a sec. Just bring your right heel a little closer to your butt, as close as you can get it. You should feel like your hamstring is squeezing. Then reach back to the inside of the foot. Pull it in by bending the elbow. Your quads will tell you when you cannot pull that foot in anymore. If your foot is very close, put your pointer finger between your big toe and second toe. And that's going to help you have a pivot point to get your full vajrasana grip, which winds up being a really nice shoulder opener. Okay, let's slowly release. And we'll make our way to pigeon. First, just testing leg strength with cactus arms or whatever else. Cactus arms are a little tricky because your arms are so far away from the ground. If you think you might be tipping over onto your left hip, you could just have your fingers staying close to the floor to catch you. Okay, let's reach the right hand to that foot. We bring our foot in as close as we can. We grab hold of the inside. Our right arm pulls the foot in more. We put our pointer finger between big toe, second toe. And then when we pivot around, we wind up with the palm of the hand on the bony top of the foot. If we can do all that while balancing, so we have to scissor the legs, we wind up with a great pectoral stretch and shoulder stretch. You might be distracted still by the leg stuff, however. That would be normal. Okay, let's get out of there. And we'll make our way to Anjaneyasana again so that we can find twisted triangle. Straighten the legs. Now we have a heel-to-heel alignment. Right hand somewhere, left arm up. Push into the ball of the left foot. Okay, let's unravel. Now push off the ball of the right foot and rock into standing split. Right leg as high as you can go. Your hip could be open or not. I open my hip because otherwise my right leg will not really go higher than my hip. That's just, my flexibility issue. So for me to feel like my right toes are rising up, I have to lift the hip. Some arm strength here will bring our torso lower. And let's release the fingers. Big step back, and let's quarter turn to the side so that we can head toward Mukta Hasta D. So this one, you can start it like how you do the others, elbows down. So you decide if you go up for a straddle or not. But now you're going to put your fingers on your shoulders. So your head will be down kind of in the same spot it was when your fingers were interlaced, but you wind up with no forearms on the floor. You just have a head and two elbows. So it's a little bit scary. And you'll realize how important your elbows are. Good. Start to come on down. You can come the same way or a different way, but make an intentional descent. Okay. A little fast, but we'll go with it. And let's meet facing that right leg again for Anjaneyasana. Okay, so we're going to turn it into a long half with half lizard thing. So let's just back up our left knee like 12 inches. So it's a long angine. Then we're going to flex the right foot, bring both hands inside of the leg, and release that edge of foot down to the floor so the knee drops open. Then maybe you want to come to your elbows. So you wind up getting into your right hip like crazy and your left hip flexors. I did this the other day and it was fabulous. And right now I feel like it's very intense. Okay, let's rise up to the palms again. We'll turn that right foot up so the squareness happens. Hands to either side of the foot. And we'll slide into Hanumanasana. And in this Hanuman, let's emphasize the stretch for the left leg, for the back leg. So we're not going to vinyasa to the other side. This time we'll just bring it in and vinyasa. And we'll meet in downward dog. Before we do all that stuff on the other side, we'll apply that in our inversions. So first we're going to return to a headstand we've already done. We're going to return to Vajrasanas C. That's the one where our palms are flat. You can measure out your elbows. You can measure out where your head goes by interlacing your fingers first. And this time we're actually going to enter it one leg at a time. So I always am harping on you to go 2 legs like this. But today, right now, I should say, we're going to lift our left leg as high as we can. We'll think of a standing split. Then we'll come onto the tippy toes of the right foot. And we'll try to let the strength of that left leg help us get our right leg up. And you could stay in a split, or you can bring your legs together. It doesn't matter. Either way. And we'll just try to take a couple breaths up there, conscious that we made it. Good. Take your time. When you feel done, come on down and rest. Carrie, that was good. All right, so we'll do the other leg. Left leg forward, Anjaneyasana to start. So being able to get up like that with one leg does require flexibility. Let's scoot that right knee back about 12 inches. Hands to the inside of the foot, flex the left foot, and then rotate it out to the side. So let's maybe come to the elbows. I'm just going to talk about your headstand while you're down here. So it's the same as a pincha or anything else. Depending on our flexibility, we will have to kick a little bit or push a little bit. Of course, we want it to be such a smooth press up, but if our hamstrings or our hips don't let us get in the right position, we are going to have to do a little bit of power. We just want to do the littlest amount of power possible so that we don't overshoot it and wind up in a back bend. Okay, let's return to our hands. Send that left foot forward again and find your split. So the reason we're doing the headstand one leg at a time thing first before pincha is because you'll need less kick in a headstand. When you get to pincha, you need more kick. When you get to handstand, you need even more kick. So we want to figure out sort of how to minimize it and how to use our legs efficiently before we go a little too crazy. Okay. Well, let's step it back and vinyasa so that we can do this other side. So take your time setting up the base. You can always do the interlaced version of headstand if that would serve you. Like maybe you would need to work on that for a few months or so before the next thing happens. So remember in your standing split, you were going leg up as high as possible, and you were pressing your shoulders down. So now that you're in your headstand, you're going to drill your elbows down, your hands down, so that the legs can go up. So all these poses really have the essence sort of the same. Oh, easy side. Okay, let's come on down, rest for a moment. Let's take our rest in virasana. What a ridiculous sentence that is. And let's head down to Supta virasana. So as we walk back, we need to retuck the tailbone. If I lift my hips maybe an inch off the ground and I angle my tailbone toward my knees, human bone toward belly button, so that I'm always trying to take away the back bend in my back and bring it to the thighs. So this should be more thigh stretch, hip flexor stretch. We shouldn't feel like our vertebrae are all compressed. Let's push into our toenails a little bit more so our ankles are more sturdy. And we'll start to rise up again. I usually poke my elbows down to help me get up. Okay. Downward dog. Just make sure your knees still work. Come down to hands and knees again. And we'll head toward pinch around one. So we're going to think more about the balance and less about the shape up there. We're just going to try to stick the balance. Doesn't matter where your legs wind up. So I measure it out, I place the hand. We're going to go that one leg at a time route. So I step one foot in a bit. My other leg I lift it as high as it can go. And I do the smallest of push with that bottom foot. Just enough so that it can lift off the ground. Just practice going minor push. And you might even have your legs stay in a split. They do not have to join each other. Okay, let's come on down for a sec and just rest. The good news is that worked. The bad news is we all go to the side that works better. So now let's do the other leg. So most likely you're going to go now right leg up, but whatever is your side that you didn't already do. Think about your standing split. And how strong that top leg needs to be. Okay, let's come on down. And we're going to rest in virasana again. Because it's fine. Because it's fine. Said nobody ever. Okay. So we're going to go for Urdhva Mula, Supta virasana. So let's lower down like we did before. And the whole time we're going to keep on tucking the tailbone. So it's like this endless spiral. There's never a moment when you're in this pose that you can sort of let that go. It's just constant. When you're able, you're going to hold on maybe to your ankles so that you can push your elbows down, get your butt up, and get your head to the floor, the top of your head. So your butt will be up, your shoulders will be up, and you can either keep your elbows there to help support, or you can reach for opposite elbows and drop your forearms toward the floor where you can see them. We'll just try to get the hips a little bit higher by pushing down into the floor with the feet. Okay, let's release again to Supta, virasana, and then lift up to regular virasana and step into downward dog to make sure that your knees are okay. I used to do that one leg at a time for a very long time because 2 legs was just too much. So, because we can, we're going to now try handstand 1 leg at a time, same lift up that you did. I'm moving my computer far away because I don't want to break it by falling, which could happen. So the same thing as headstand, the same thing as pinch up. You're just going to lift 1 leg as high as you can. Part of the dilemma is that now we're so far from the ground, our flexibility is making it so that we do have to do a little more of a push. Just want to make it the smallest of push. Good. And I got real quiet. It took me like many seconds to get my second leg to meet my top leg. So you might just keep your legs separated. You might bend one into the chest. Okay, let's try the other leg. So if you have wrist issues, repeat pinch up. There's no reason to hurt wrists just to get a handstand. So any of the inversions, the element is the same of trying to get our alignment, of trying to use minimal effort to get up there. So we'll just try to think about where our hips are in space. Let's come on down. Okay. So Miss Carrie, you're a little bit back bending in the handstand. So what I would say is here, if your hands are here, instead of looking somewhere here, try to look more like here. And purely changing your gaze is going to change all of everything else. Okay, so let's come to, again, Supta virasana. Again, Urdhva Mula. This time we're going to try to have our hands on the floor. So it'll start the same. First, just get comfy with your shoulders down. And then when you can, you'll place your hands as if you're going to come into Urdhva Dhanurasana. Your elbows will face the ceiling. And then you'll lift your hips and come to the top of your head, just like you did in the previous version. But in the previous version, some of us had our elbows on the floor and some of us were holding opposite elbows, trying to get our forearms to the floor. So this is just one more hand position. But really, the emphasis is in the legs in order to get our hips up. So push into your feet. And let's tuck the chin, come on down, and start to rise up by poking your elbows down. Okay. Downward dog, make sure your knees still work. Rock forward to plank, and we'll lower down to the belly for Shavasana seat. Interlace the fingers behind your back, roll your shoulders up and open, and make a choice you want your legs up or not. Okay, let's release. Carol has a very cute visitor in her mat area. very lucky lady right now. Let's bring your hands under the shoulders, curl into a little cobra, and downward dog exhale. So ideally you felt that in the chest. We'll do two more things that might get into our chest a little bit more. Let's rock forward and lower down to the belly. We did a lot of hip flexor work. The other element of back bends is chest opening. So let's reach our left hand for our right ankle. Then slide your right hand along your back, lean over to the right and grab hold of your left ankle. So we have our wrists crossed, our big inner big toes touching, and we'll kick to rise up. This is just a vajrasana with a variation. And this variation sort of gets into the chest more inevitably. Let's lower down partway. We're going to keep our right hand where it is. Just let go of the left hand, slide it under so that you're crossed the other way, and kick up again. We just changed the way you're crossed. And let's let go of that. Hands under the shoulders. Inhale, cobra or upward facing. And exhale, downward facing. We'll rock forward to plank. And then instead of chaturanga, we're going to go knees, chest, chin. So in some schools of yoga, that is how they do a chaturanga. Feels a little odd to some of us that are not used to it. You're going to end up with your butt sticking up towards the ceiling. And the squishing of the boobs is sort of a thing. So try to rock far enough forward so it's more on your sternum a bit, so it doesn't hurt. And if you can, interlace your fingers behind the back, arms up. And if it's too easy, walk your knees in. Take your time getting out of there, and we all entered at a different time. So if you're just getting into it, stay a bit longer. And if you're ready, vinyasa. We'll come to stand on the shins. So you've done thigh opening, you've done chest and shoulder opening. Now we have to do just a little bit of strengthening with these legs and these feet and these ankles. So we're going to do 3 different variations on Laghu vajrasana. First, we're just going to reach our arms forward, and we'll lean back, and we'll feel our legs catch, and we'll rise up. We'll just do that 3 times. You go as far back as you want, knowing that you have to come up again. And just notice that moment that it sort of activates everything. Okay. Let's curl the toes and rest for a sec before we have to do that again. The variations will get successively harder. So maybe you want to repeat the one we just did. Otherwise, let's have our arms down by our sides. Just glued to you. And we'll go back and we'll rise up. And if you're feeling comfortable when you go back, as far as you go, let your head drop back. Because then you're really going to feel the hips, chest, head situation as you rise up. Your hips push forward, then your chest, then your head. And after you've done that 3 times, have a rest again in toe crunch. So next up, we're going to hold our ankles. One of the things I've noticed recently is that my forearm is inside of my heel a little bit. So the arms are going to be straight. The grip is real easy. Thumb inside the ankle, other 4 fingers outside. So I'll just come down as far as I can. Head goes back. And then on the way up, it's hips. And I'll just practice that a few times. Just put down as low as you want. But the head will be back. The chest very open. And the hips are what's pushing forward like mad. So your feet have to push down into the floor in order to get your hips forward. Good. And let's take a rest. So fun fact about Laghu, we talk about like the tradition of Ashtanga and what it's been, where the hand goes. It was only like in the 80s that the hand went to the ankle. Before that, it was up by the calf. Having it by the calf, I think, is way more intense because it's more of a back bend. The issue with it by the calf is that then your arm strength doesn't help you very much. If my hand is by my ankles, on my way up, I'm pushing with my hands and I get them up. If the hand is here by my calf muscle, my arms are not helpful. But the head then winds up closer to the feet, which is way more Kapotasana position. So give that a try and just see what you think of it. Put your hands on like the meaty part of your calf muscle up by the knee crease. It's the same easy grip from inside, 4 fingers out. And you may be able to go down further, maybe not as far. Oh, down easy, up hard. Lisa, get your ass up, girl. So yeah, you see what I mean about how much work your arms are doing in the normal hand position. This will make us very grateful for the normal hand position. But this, the old school hand position of on the calves is a really nice Kapotasana prep because your head runs up by your toes. Okay, let's meet in downward dog. The side might be on fire from all of that. We'll go for our pinch and vajrasana. Actually, I lied to you. Let's go for our headstand with 2 legs this time. So any headstand you want, maybe the interlace, maybe palms flat. But instead of lifting how we did earlier, we're going to walk our feet in, and we're going to give ourselves the smallest boost that we need to get our legs up. Good. And let's slowly come on down. If possible, curl in a bit so that you just get out of the back bends for a moment. We're going to do one more thing with our Laghu vajrasanas. We're going to let it turn into more of where we were going with our Supta virasanas before. So it'll look something like this. We stand on the knees, this you've already done, just kind of combining some things. So I like to use the thumbs to kind of nudge the tailbone down, and then at some point, hands down. Then I'll let my head come down. Then I'll keep my head down, but I'll change my hand position. So this you already did earlier. You just entered it from Supta virasana. Then I'll try to straighten my arms. Maybe walk them in a little more. And then I'll reverse it, head down again. Hands return to the legs. And then I push. So it's like an out and back, little yo-yo situation. So give it a try. You could also start it how we did before in Supta virasana, laying on your back. And really, any back bend, pubic bone forward is the name of the game. Good. So now, Lisa, just keep pressing into your toes. Good. Then lower your head again. Change your hands. Keep your hips up. And now it's a hips, chest, head thing. So hard. Good. The first few times that I ever did that in my life, I thought my quads were never going to recover. I was sore for days. Okay, so we'll meet in down dog B. Take a little rest. And then we'll attempt a little jump up into pinch up. And it may or may not work. We'll just try it about 3 times. Then we'll rest again. And then we'll just get into pinch up some other way. So when I jump up into pinch up, I look a little bit like a frog. And I just try to get my hips where I need. And then I sort out the legs after. And I like to push foot into foot the whole time. So give it a try. And it's momentum, but it's the smallest amount that you can get in order to get where you're trying to go. Oh, Carrie, very nice. Lisa, you can allow a little more, like your shoulders can come a little more back to go forward. You don't have to be quite so rigid in the shoulders. And then the leg strength can propel your shoulders a bit. And armpits toward legs. The hard part is getting your armpits toward your legs when your legs are in the air. So pretend you have extra sets of legs. Ooh, okay, very nice. Let's rest for a moment. So, we're going to try that Laghu situation one more time. Or if you're over that, lay on your back and do any back bend from there. No matter what back bend you do, the emphasis is the pelvis moving away from your feet. Even if you're in something like a vajrasana, my foot is going one way and my pelvis is going the other. So really any back bend, you're trying to expand yourself. So I'll talk you through the same one we did or do something independent, and we'll meet back in like 90 seconds. Oh, nobody's going Laghu. Okay, y'all. So let us meet in our regular down dog, straight arms, straight legs. Whenever you get there is the right time. We'll walk hands to feet. And we'll step on our hands, palms facing up, toes by wrists. Vajrasanas. We inhale for length. And we exhale to fold. You could just let gravity take you here and you can relax a little. Or you could be a little more strong with it. You can have your legs bent if you want. Resting the chest on the thighs is sometimes really nice. Okay, let's walk our hands forward again. Regular down dog. Don't bring our right leg forward or easy lunge, and we'll twist, prayer twist to the right. So we'll hook that left arm outside the thigh. We'll try to stack the forearms. Let's untwist. We'll slide the back knee to the pinky toe side of the right foot and have a seat. And we'll do the same twist. So the same hooking of the arm, pretty much the location is the same. You can keep the left elbow bent or reach for your foot. Okay, and let's unravel ourselves. We'll just lean forward so our weight again comes into the right foot. Step back to your lunge and just vinyasa over to the other side so that you can do your lunge, prayer twist. And just pay attention to where you're putting your right arm on your left thigh, because that's the same place you're going to put it for your Ardha Matsyendrasana. It's just easier to get into it here because you have fewer body parts on the ground. Okay, let's unravel. Right knee comes forward, and we have a seat. And then we twist again. And take your time getting that arm hooked. So you might have to move your left thigh over to the right. You might even have to lean over onto your right sit bone, get the hook, and then sort out getting your left sit bone to the ground again. Okay, and let's unravel ourselves. We'll just rock forward to that left foot, step back, and vinyasa around over to side one. This time, let's just bring our back foot to meet our front foot and we'll squat. And we'll hug our knees to our chest and hold opposite elbows or anything else. And if you have some sensitivity in your back, two ways to help that is draw your belly in and drop the head. It does not make it easier, but it sometimes feels good. Okay, let's lower our butts to the floor close to our feet and just reach forward. Good. Let's just lift the right leg off the ground. And let's bring the left leg to meet. Let's put the right foot on the ground again. And bring the left foot to meet it. Maybe then you can lean forward again. Good. Baddha Konasana. Soles of the feet will either be together or opening like a hook. Knees drop open and we lean forward. Rise up and straighten that left leg, either Janu A, foot to thigh, or Ardha Baddha Paschimottanasana, which is a half lotus and then a fold. So either way, we're going to fold over that left leg. If you're in half lotus, your edge of foot should be right at your hip crease, so that when you fold, you feel your heel digging into your guts just to the side of your belly button. You can wrap your arm behind the back if you want. Okay. Let's rise up on an inhale. Release the arms on your exhale, and then cross both legs so you're either in full lotus or you're just in cross-legged. And then we're going to hug our knees toward our shoulders. And whatever kind of wrap you can muster, it might be kind of low and your hands are on your knees, or maybe you pull your knees in pretty close. So it's just a stretch for your low back mostly, and of course your hips are getting it. Okay, we'll try to keep our legs where they are. Just release your arms. Hard. The arms are so helpful. Let's place the hands on the floor about 6 inches in front of your hips. Lean forward, straighten your arms and lift your butt off the ground. With the heat. We'll come on down, unravel your legs, and we'll go for Janu A or Ardha Baddha on the other side. So right leg straight, left foot either to right thigh or half lotus. And if you're going half lotus, go heel to belly button. And then this left knee is going to come in toward the right knee. And as it does, you get 2 inches of toe dangling over the hip. You can fold and wrap or wrap and fold. Or you can put 2 hands on your right foot if you prefer. Rise up halfway on the inhale. Release the arms on the exhale. And bend up your right leg to some kind of cross-legged so you can hug your knees in. A little harder on this side because we're not used to going left foot first. Okay, let's keep our legs where they are. Just release your arms. So notice you're trying to bring your knees in toward your shoulders. Just now your arms aren't helpful. Let's put the hands on the floor, lift our butts, and we're still going to think knees to shoulders. That's going to keep our legs lifting up off the ground. And it's all your low belly muscles and your hip flexors that are going to get your legs. Okay, let's lower everything down, release your legs, and vinyasa any way you'd like. I'm going to skip a vinyasa and just pedal out my feet. Okay. So make a choice, headstand or shoulder stand. And then I'll talk you through it once I see where you are going. So for shoulder stand, you'll lay on your back. For headstand, you'll go through your tabletop. Okay, so first just find that alignment of straightness. Carol, you can get your hands closer to your shoulder blades. Yes, and now your feet away from the wall. Good. Okay, so then we're going to try to lotus up our legs while we're in the air. So your hands are busy. You'll just do your best to do it with no hands. And if lotus is not your thing, just cross your legs some way. If you're in shoulder stand, then you'll place your hands on the inside of your knees. If you're in headstand, you're going to try to bring your knees toward your armpits, which is quite the challenge. But carry all this weight is going to be in your shoulders. You have to press more into the shoulder, like where the arm bone goes in. Yes. Good. And those of you in shoulder stand, now hug your knees toward your chest. Place your palms flat on the ground, arms straight, and roll out as slow as you can. So the back has to really articulate in order to go slow. Good. And then we'll just unwind our legs. And let's all meet on our backs with our legs straight up in the air. So you're like an L shape, as if you have legs up the wall, but there's no wall there. Let's bend the knees, drop them over to the left. And you can use your left hand to put your legs exactly where you want so that it feels good. Gaze to the right. And let's go one leg at a time through center so that it's very easy to change sides. You could go two legs at once, but that would be like a strong kind of Pilates move. And this is our last thing before Shavasana, so we might as well make it easy. Okay, we'll go one leg at a time through center. If there's anything else you need, go ahead and do it. I'm just going to roll around a little bit for a sec. You can set yourself up with blankets or walls so that your Shavasana is delicious. Please, fun thing. Somehow she thought that she could do that without getting kissed, but now I'm going to go get her. more breath. Go through whatever your process is. And we'll meet sitting up. Keep our shoulders over the hips, and we'll just drop the right ear toward the right shoulder. Just to stretch the left side of the neck. And angle your chin toward the right shoulder to stretch a different part of the left side of the neck. And we'll roll the chin along the collarbone so that we can bring left ear to left shoulder. Chin to left shoulder. Roll the chin along the collarbone just to the halfway spot so your head is dropped. We'll lift the head up, bring the thumbs up to the forehead to meet the head. And as one unit, we'll bow forward, so we just hinge the hip. Namaste.